the brothers Karamazov, I think it's the greatest novel ever written. That's debatable, but certainly it's one of them. And it's one of the deepest, most profound existential look at what are the consequences of believing in God and not believing in God, and what happens if cultures and communities and whole countries turn their back on God. What happens when atheist materialist progressivism gives rise to a conquering or a dominant position in Western culture? We find out Dostoevsky died in 1881, right? And so we're talking a good 30 plus years. It would be 30 plus years before the Soviet Union descended its iron fist on what used to be Russia. But Dostoevsky predicted it. One of the things most interesting about him is 30 years before it happened, in all of his novels, but in particularly the Brothers Karamazov, he is trying to show you what will happen when atheist and materialism in the forms of socialism and communism, when it take over. And it's not pretty. And we had 75 years of genocide and gulags and just incredible repression from the Soviet Union. So take a look at our first quote from today. Here, too, is one of our Christian figures in the book who's trying to explain to those who would listen what the modern world, with all of its progress and atheism and material, is what it works. The character says this: the world says, quote, colon, you have needs, satisfy them. You have as much right as the rich and the mighty. Don't hesitate to satisfy your needs. Indeed, expand your needs and demand more. Isn't this the anti-capitalistic, isn't this the socialist dialectic of today, of Antifa? We're not asking people to live with less. We're telling people they deserve more. And so everybody, it's not that the rich have to be pulled down. It's that until we are all as rich as the rich, which is what everybody wants, there will be no equality. It goes on to say, you have needs, satisfy them. You have as much right as the rich and the mighty. Don't hesitate to satisfy your needs. Indeed, expand your needs and demand more. This is the worldly doctrine of the day, our character says, and they believe that this is freedom. What a brilliant undoing deconstruction of Marxism. These people actually believe that simply giving people more stuff or taking from people have and giving what stealing from people, what people who have, and giving it to people who don't, they think this somehow is revolutionary. Go back to that quote. They believe that this is freedom, that it's somehow freedom, stuff, material possessions, that making sure that nobody in a fit of jealous rage, that nobody has more than we do. They call these progressives, freedom. As he points out, the result of this for the rich is isolation and suicide. And for the poor, envy and murder. Isn't that a perfect description of our current situation? The rich have isolated themselves, insulated themselves from the mob, and because of their empty lives, oftentimes, Epstein, anybody, commit suicide. On the other hand, you've got the poor indoctrinated at the colleges and the high school level. And for the poor, they envy. They don't want to be free of materialism. They want as much as the rich guys, only they don't have to work for it. They don't have to invent anything for it. They just want what the other guy has. And if they don't get it, as Antifa so eloquently says, then maybe it's time to eat the rich. 1881, this book spelled out the problem we were having exactly today.